The Supreme Court's ruling are now be joined on the news at 10 by constitutional lawyer, human rights activist and President Voters Awareness Initiative, Mr. Wale Ogunade. Mr. Ogunade, thank you so much for joining us on the news at 10. And I know you've been following this story right from the beginning. What do you make of the Supreme Court's ruling?
Wonderful. The ruling came, a judgment rather, comes to strengthen democracy. It has come to deepen democracy. And of course, enhance the democratic space. And of course, just like before, it has put a signpost on our democratic journey.
When you say deepens democracy, what does that mean?
It means that, in the next electoral process that will be starting very soon, maybe 2014 or so, nobody will want to think that there is something called tenure elongation for him. Because Section 182A is quite clear, and we've stated it from time immemorial. When they started all this nonsense, it was a contraption of some people who thought they are smart. The idea of tenure elongation was not in the Constitution. The Section 181 is quite clear. It is quite clear. 2A is quite clear. You take an oath of office, and of course, the time begins to click. Your bus stop is 4 years after, May 29, 4 years after. So if a contraption of an election rerun took place, and you now think you want to benefit from it, having sworn to an oath, you can now say that that oath is cancelled. It's not possible because that oath that you are now holding on to is not in the Constitution. And note it, we run a constitutional government. So you cannot impute something that is not in the Constitution yourself. And of course, I'll use this opportunity to tell our friends, my colleagues who are lawyers, who normally, because of the expediency of political activities, want to bring politics into law. Law and politics are in two different compartments. You cannot mix law and politics together and expect that they will work. No, you cannot manufacture facts. The law will always be the law. 4 years is for you. Take your oath, go. If there is a rerun, because of a contraption, because we'll get there, because that rerun is caused because of the due process that was lacking in the political space. If not, the good candidate will come up and there will not be issue of contesting an election in that way.
So what is the implication of this judgment for a state like Kogi that already has a governor-elect?
To me, again, I stand to be, I hold that view. And it's going to be, you will see what will happen in the event in the next few days. The election that threw up Captain Wada Idris was a nullity because was based on a faulty impression that indeed the position of the law was that, well, there is a tenure elongation. But now the Supreme Court on Friday has now said that there was nothing like that. So they are going to fall back to the status quo ante. And that is the preparation for the 4-year program that they had before the Court of Appeal nullified that issue.
Does that mean that this is the only way it can be resolved?
It's not going to. You can't do it through fisticuffs. Okay. It has to be through the legal way. At worst, if anybody feels aggrieved now, the PDP cliche is that go to court. So let them go to court and test it again. You see, we are not in a hurry. Don't know that Nigeria is suffering, but again, if this is the price we have to pay for democracy and for our democracy to be deepened, then definitely it will be. And let me, before Nigerians forget, again, forever again, nobody will wake up and say, I don't like the face of my deputy, so I remove him. Obasanjo tried that failed. Again, nobody will say yes if there is vacancy in the office of the between the vice president and the president. They will not. The vice president will not automatically get into the office of the president. We have passed that stage. So again, this is another stage. So eventually, we'll get out of this stage, and all Nigerians will be wiser for it.
But there's confusion in Bayelsa State over the judgments between former Governor Silva, Governor Silva, and Mr. Henry Dixon. Who does this judgment favor in the end?
Again, you see, it's the same thing. Just like in Kogi, it's the same thing in Bayelsa. There are two people who are contending, and there is a position on ground already, and there is a status quo. And of course, we will look at it as lawyers. We will say, let us look at the status quo ante. There were two elections. The only thing, the undoing thing that Silva did himself, he was playing hot and cold. Initially, you said, of course, you won the primary of 2010 or so. Then you now took part or wanted to take part in the 2011 primaries. Obviously, you would have just insisted on your right that no. What has happened is that there is a subsisting primary, which has given me that ticket, and I'm going to hold on to that ticket. And that's what this man, Chocho, is doing in Kogi. And I would expect that it should go along that line. But as far as I'm concerned, the sale has been removed.
Well, I know that right now the PDP is actually looking up to INEC to see what it's. INEC is supposed to say something about this, but what do you expect INEC to do?
Well, to me, INEC, as far as I'm concerned, again, is even good you brought this in. And I want to use this opportunity. All this noise that I'm saying is because INEC took a step. If INEC did not go to court, which is quite strange and which is quite unusual, if INEC did not go to court to contest this issue, it won't be this way. No doubt the person now again that will give maybe that kudos to was the Buba Marwa, who now went again, because along the line I learned that the matter went asleep. Then the man now, as an interested party, now sued and joined the matter, and of course they now pursued it. If not because INEC took that step, obviously we won't be talking this way. And where I'm going is that all democratic institutions, particularly the Nigerian police, every one of us must wake up, including individuals, the news media houses and so on. We must wake up to see how we deepen and strengthen democracy and democratic institutions in this country. That's the only way we can get out of this logjam, or else we'll continue to go in circles. And I pray, God forbid,